Hey YouTube, it's Captain Horror again, back with another tier list ranking. Today I will be covering my favorite horror franchise ever, and that is Halloween. But I am not alone. I have with me my good friend FelixTheGrey to help cover this with me. What's up, dude?
How's it going, man? Thanks for having me again.
Hey, not a problem. Hope y'all enjoyed our cover on A Nightmare on Elm Street. If you haven't seen that, video will be in the description, so go check that out. All right, man, let's just go ahead and hop right into it
Do
with
it.
a Halloween franchise. So first off, we have the classic John Carpenter's 1978 Halloween.
Amazing
I,
film.
dude, John Carpenter's direction, and not only that, the musical score. So
The iconic,
yes,
iconic soundtrack to this.
the iconic score, man. Um, I feel like not only is this an amazing movie, I feel like this is culturally, excuse me, and historically significant
I agree.
in horror movies. So let's go backtrack a little bit. So we have this, and this is 1978, and there were a few slasher movies that did come out prior to that. Um, Psycho, I guess you could consider that one a slasher,
Yeah, I'd put that in that same category.
and some people say Texas Chainsaw Massacre that came out before Halloween. Some people say that's a slasher. I don't really consider it a slasher at all.
No,
It's a more on the sadistic side, but I don't. I
more
mean,
like a violent psychological thriller.
that's a good one. Black Christmas, however, I think that's a slasher.
Yes, I'm
Now,
definitely that.
but we look at this, all those movies, other than Psycho, but you look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you look at Black Christmas, these are stuff in the genre where it involves teenagers being murdered by a stranger. And they tend to have the final girl trope.
Yeah,
I feel Halloween is, I feel like it took those, though, because you could look at it, and a lot of people know that Black Christmas very much inspired Halloween. If y'all haven't watched Black Christmas, like there's that POV shot of the actual killer or the stranger in a Black Christmas, and then you have these POV shots of Michael stalking. So there's where there's some of that inspiration. It's just one of those things where it was inspired by these movies, but it did it so much better, in my opinion.
I could
Like you,
not agree more.
and I mean, you also look at Halloween. I feel like this helped popularize that whole final girl thing, and that has to do with Jamie Lee Curtis's portrayal as Laurie. Um,
She there was nobody that was ever going to play Laurie as well as Jamie Lee Curtis.
no, and we also look at this movie where you have the group of teenagers, and not only that, some that are they're what's the word I'm going to look for without sounding so harsh. Uh, there's some substance abusers, smoking the J, and they're also sexually active. That to me, when you think of that, you think of Friday the 13th, right?
Yep.
And then you have this mass killer, and then you also think of Friday the 13th. So I always tell people, I'm like, and I feel like I've read that somewhere where Sean Cunningham was actually inspired by Halloween to make the Jason character, and the whole having these teenagers, smoking and having sex and drinking and all that at camp, but it's just a camp setting. But I love the use of Michael has his own theme song. You think about it. He has his own theme song.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of other of the big slasher killers that can really say that. Maybe Pinhead, kinda,
Yeah.
but even then, like it's not like a definitive. This sound is associated with Myers.
Yeah. The shape sound too. The
Yep.
sting is what they call it. Carpenter, he shot many of the scenes from the perspective of a killer, and that helps build the tension. Not only that, this movie is effective in scares without gore, in my
Yep.
opinion. There's not a lot of gore in this movie.
There's
Not
not.
a not a lot. Probably none at all. It's bloody but not gory.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, Halloween I feel is responsible for that new wave of horror that emerged in the 80s.
Hmm.
I feel like it kickstarted it. Um, I feel like it became almost a staple of a blueprint for other movies to come. Friday the 13th, Elm Street, and
Yeah.
possibly Scream
Yeah. I mean, this really did lay the groundwork for mainstream horror.
and
It
slashers at that too.
it did it. It did the slasher genre
The final girl trope, all that stuff.
best.
This is easily S tier.
Hmm. Could not agree harder.
And yeah, one of my favorite movies of all time.
And praise be to Donald Pleasance in this movie.
Yes,
Among other movies, but this one in particular, I think his portrayal of Loomis is
his best.
it's the best.
Because, he starts to get batshit crazy in the later movies.
Ooh, man, yeah, he goes off the rails.
Off the unhinged. Moving
Uh,
on, we have Halloween 2. So this one came out in 1981. Now, it came out, 3 years after the first movie. However, it takes place on the same night of the events of the first movie. So this is the one where it picks up on the cliffhanger ending after the first movie, where Loomis shoots Michael 6 times, and he falls off the balcony or the banister or whatever it was. He leans over, and Michael's gone.
Such an iconic ending.
Yeah, really good. You're like, man, what happened to Michael? Like,
Oh,
what? Like, he lived? Like, how? Like, what's going on?
yeah.
So, yeah, it picks up after the ending of the first film, where Lori, who survives Michael's attack, she's taken to the hospital, and Dr. Loomis is in pursuit of Michael. Because we know where Michael's going. He's
Yep.
going to finish what he basically started. He's going to try to go to the hospital and kill Lori. And this is also where it introduces that twist that Lori is the sister of Michael Myers, which would later become a narrative arc of other movies to come, including the Rob Zombie movies.
Yes.
but later dropped in canon of the 2018 movie, which we'll talk about later.
So I I adore this movie almost as much as the first one.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a very solid sequel.
Very solid sequel. It's intense. There is so much fear felt for Lori because here she is. She's in the hospital. She's vulnerable. There's not a whole lot of people around,
Mm-hmm.
and Michael's just running amok.
I was
He
gonna
has
say,
amazing kills in this.
oh, dude, the hot that what is it? I guess you could say it was like the hot
Yeah,
tub.
the therapeutic tub, the hot
Yeah.
tub.
Oh man,
One of my favorite kills.
it's just seeing her face being burned and more skins peeling off after every dunk.
And especially for 81,
Mm-hmm.
it looks so good. They did such an amazing job with the practical effects. I think Dick Warlock did really good playing Michael here. He has a good body language. I love this movie so much as a sequel.
I also really enjoy the whole thing that they introduced, the fact that twist that Lori and Michael are brother and sister, because I feel like in the later movies where that part is relevant, it gives the movie some type of meaning. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I feel like this is a solid sequel. I enjoy it a lot. I I feel like there's other movies that are in this series of the whole film. I feel like that are better than it.
Yeah, I agree.
I would have to put Halloween 2 in a B tier.
Yeah, I would definitely put it there. It's high B for me.
It is a very high B. Like there's a few things with it that I like. There's a few things with it where I'm kind of like it does kind of feel a little bit slow, the whole hospital setting.
Yeah, it
I don't care for the whole hospital setting. I love the Haddonfield setting because it makes you feel like, man, Haddonfield is such an Americana town. It makes you feel like it can happen anywhere at any time.
does.
I'm not too big keen on the hospital setting. I get why they did it, but I mean, like I said, it picks off where it left off. It wanders into this whole new scene that I'm kind of like, I want more Haddonfield. I don't care for the Haddonfield, hospital.
Yeah, one thing that definitely drops it lower than the very top tiers for me is it's hard to see at times. Like
It's a
physically hard.
very dark. I mean,
I
it's a dark movie, not very
yeah,
well lit. Because I think it was like a lot. It's the hospitals at night, so you have like all these dark hallways and such. I
yeah.
mean, that does add to the creepiness factor of it.
It does, but I also kind of want to see what's happening at the same time.
Exactly.
So I definitely agree with the B tier placement on this.
I enjoy it. It's a good movie. It's not great by any means. It's just a solid good movie.
Yeah, lot of rewatchability,
Oh,
especially if
100%.
you just need something to throw on and be like, yeah, that sounds good.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. It's a good follow up after, like I said,
Yeah.
one because of how the continuation. Not only that, Jamie Lee Curtis's wig in that movie, a little funny.
Well, it is. It's pretty comical.
It is. So we're moving on to Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Now, this one came out a year after Halloween 2. And what a lot of people don't know is Halloween was originally going to be an anthology series about a bunch of collection of stories. So in the end of Halloween 2, where, that operating room blows up with Michael in it and he burns and he falls, he dies. That is supposed to be the end of Michael. And that was going to be the end chapter of that whole thing, the story of, Michael. That was going to be the end chapter of it all. And then now they introduce this whole new story, which has no Loomis, no Laurie, no Haddonfield, no Michael. This is a film that focuses a lot on, I guess you could say, witchcraft, um, curses, a lot of like science fiction aspect of it. It's like a science fiction horror in a sort of sense.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
science
this
fiction slasher. Well, not even really. Kind of a slasher. It's hard to
no,
put into a
there's
box.
no, I was gonna say there's not a lot of slasher in this. It's more, like I said, it's like a science horror, like body horror kind of thing going on.
I I really like this movie.
I do too. I love how this is a very good standalone movie.
Yes.
Very good. Um, this is a one where you have the Silver Shamrock company that's making these Halloween masks, and who's the manager of it was Connell Cochran.
Yep.
So basically it's revealed that these masks, which have this little medallion on the back of the mask, there's a microchip in it, and the medallion is basically just shoots a deadly energy beam into the mask and it kills whoever's wearing it, but they have to wear the mask during when a certain commercial plays for Silver Shamrock on Halloween night. So,
this movie has a really good kill in it. I need to point out
go ahead.
where I can't remember. It's been a little bit since I've watched this, so I'm a little fuzzy on who it exactly was. But it's the guy laying down in the hotel room, and one of the people from the company goes into the hotel room, puts his hand over his mouth, and just pulls on his eyes. it's kind of an out of the blue kill. I mean, you know something's gonna happen, but you don't expect that. It just hits you, and I thought it was a very effective practical use. It does look a little goofy, but I like that. That is one of my favorite kills in this movie.
What I like about this, like I said, I like how it's different. I like like I said, I get where they were going at this whole Halloween anthology thing. I like the story. It's entertaining. It's got some good moments in it. I know a lot of people find the Silver Shamrock commercial tune song thing.
Oh, the jingle.
The jingle, yeah. I know some people find it annoying. It's catchy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, it was perfect for that because it was definitely a song a kid's gonna get caught in their head and they're gonna go around singing nonstop.
I know
And
what. Mhm.
is perfect.
I know a lot of people say like, "Oh, it's so deeply flawed." Like you got this plot where they take a chunk of Stonehenge and they ship it across the Atlantic, and it's like that way they can harvest it for like its magical powers to kill. And I'm just like, that's what makes it fun. I like
Yeah.
it. It's creative as shit.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of other movies quite like this. This was definitely in its own realm, especially for 1982 cuz, really with sci-fi you had what, Star Wars,
Yeah.
Star Trek. That was kind of like your sci-fi. You
Mhm.
didn't have a whole lot of mix of the horror elements along with the science fiction, which I appreciate.
I'll also go on this too. For all you hate this season of the witch haters out there who hate this movie because there is no Michael Myers, guess what? He is in this movie. He's on a TV commercial in the bar. So, checkmate. Season of the Witch, you and I both like this movie. I
Yep.
put this in A tier.
Yep. I agree.
This is a movie where I can understand if you have to go into this movie watching it expecting no Michael Myers. You got to expect no Laurie Strode, no. Don't get me wrong. I can understand a group of people in 1982 going to see this movie in theaters, watching it and getting pissed that there is no Michael Myers. I can get that, but if you watch as a standalone, I think you'll enjoy it. And for the people who never enjoyed it, in the beginning, I feel like the more they watched it, the more it grew on them. I was one of them people. I was one of them when I was new to the franchise. I watched it first time, I'm like, man, there's no Michael in this. Like that kind of sucks. And then the more I watch it, I appreciate it more. And now I fucking love it. A tier, easily. So now we're gonna go from 1982 to 1988 with Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. Now, after the backlash that the studio received from Season of the Witch, they decided, well, let's bring back Michael Myers. However, we have a new subplot that does not involve Laurie at all. So they had written Laurie off, who in events prior has died in a car accident, and she is left behind her orphan daughter, Jamie, who played by Danielle Harris in her film debut. Great child actor in this movie, by the way.
Very good.
And I think she did a very fantastic job as Jamie. So this movie begins the Thorn trilogy, which we'll talk about later. I dude, this movie has a serious cult following. And
It's
I
solid.
I really like this movie.
Yeah.
I like the new story that they tell. Um, Granted, Michael's mask is a little goofy, but I'm not going to hate the movie the way how his mask looks.
Yeah. It's really good. It's definitely it starts the Thorn trilogy off well. Obviously that goes we'll talk about later. But
Yeah.
I enjoy this movie a lot. I've rewatched it a couple times here and there. Um yeah, like you said, the mask is meh, but whatever. I thought
He has the
Michael was
surprised look on his face, the eyebrows, like, ooh, hello.
yeah. Yeah, he's got the rock eyebrow going. Uh but
Both eyes.
it's a solid movie. Like you said, Danielle Harris, really good as Jamie Lloyd. Loomis hasn't quite gone fully insane.
Right.
It's there. The seeds are there,
Well,
but he hasn't fully gone crazy.
like,
But
the movie's solid. It's
yeah,
entertaining. It's a good watch. It has some really good kills.
yeah, it does.
Dude, the ending. Holy shit.
Oh, it's that is a really good ending.
I love that ending.
I
I don't even want to say what it is for those who haven't watched it. This is one of those, if you know what we're talking about, you know.
yeah,
If you haven't, go watch the movie.
yeah. Yes, definitely. This is a must watch for fans of Halloween, in my
I'm
opinion.
also, yeah, and I also want to point that this movie did come out in 1988, and I was going to say in the late 80s, this is when the slasher trope kind of started to fizzle out a little bit. And like the late 80s, it was kind of like these whole slasher stuff was getting kind of dry. This movie's still solid, dude.
Yeah,
I
I
still enjoy it. I still enjoy it.
couldn't agree more.
Um, where would you want to rank this at, though?
For me, I I feel like it's almost on par. It's hard
This is a
because
B for me.
that's kind of where I was saying it's or thinking I would put it mid B.
Like a B plus.
Yeah, yeah, that's where I'd put it.
Okay, I agree with you on that. So we
Nice.
can put Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, B tier. Moving on, we're going to 1989, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Not my favorite.
Yeah, not mine either. This
So,
this one's a little rough to get through for me.
yeah, it does some things where I'm just kind of like, they didn't need to do that. Like, what? Like the cops walking and they have the
Oh my
clown shoes
god.
effect. What? Like, y'all fucking with me right now?
Yeah. And they take away like we were just talking about how Danielle Harris as Jamie Lloyd, she did a really good job
Mhm.
in 4. And
No, hold on. Not just Danielle Harris, Ellie Cornell as Rachel in the
mm,
fourth movie, super solid.
yeah,
Only to kill her off within like what 30 some minutes of this movie.
yep.
I'm like, damn, really? Y'all could have made her y'all could have made her the final girl. I don't even consider Jamie the final girl because she's kind of like this whole she's she's the one of the main characters or no. Well, she's one of the main characters, but I don't want to say she's like a final girl. Maybe
Yeah.
like a duo.
Yeah.
No. No, I guess you could say the duo of Jamie and Rachel. No, who do they make? Fucking Tina. One of the worst fucking characters in the franchise. Tina's super fucking annoying.
Yeah, she really drags this movie down even farther. I mean, you get
And this is where Loomis starts to go batshit crazy, which I feel like is a little more on the makes me laugh side, kind of like it makes me get through the movie just to see Loomis just get shitty crazier and crazier.
Loomis is I can't believe I'm saying this for how Loomis is in this movie, but he is kind of the saving grace of this film for me.
He really is because Jamie doesn't talk.
No,
Oh, she's
that
so yeah. So with this movie, this introduces the whole supernatural aspect where Jamie has this telepathic link, or she's possessed by Michael, where they have this link, and she sees what he sees, but in the meantime, she's a mute. She can't talk. And Loomis is like, I know you know. He's like shaking her and shit. I'm like, whoa, God, Loomis, calm down. She's
he's
a child.
he goes real hard, real fast.
And this is where this introduces that subplot where I was talking about the whole the Thorn trilogy. So Myers is actually under the influence of this cult
Uh-huh.
who is centered their power around the ancient rune of Thorn. And it makes him driven to kill his family. His like, because the first movie, very first movie when he was like 5 or 6, he killed Judith, his older sister. And then now you were like, well, why does he want to kill Lori? And you're like, oh, well, that's his sister too. And they introduced that in the second movie. And then now he's trying to kill his niece. And this whole the Thorn trilogy. Plus, man, you have that Man in Black character that's part of that Curse of Thorn subplot.
Yeah, isn't it?
It's so confusing, man.
Wasn't that Don Shanks?
Oh man, I want to say yes.
Yeah, I thought it was Don Shanks who played him because he
Yes, it
also played
is.
Michael.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is Don Shanks. You're right.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's not my there is the kind of it's comical to me, the scene where Loomis like shoots Michael with the trank gun and then he's got the net that he throws onto him. I thought
and
that
he
was
has a
kind of funny.
stroke. Well, oh, not only that, this house, the Strode house in this, or the Myers house, not the Strode house, the Meyer house in this movie. What the fuck was that?
Yeah,
That is not my Myers house.
no.
It's a Victorian Gothic house. And I'm just like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, this is just not one of my it's not very high on my rewatch list. It's not very good to me.
I will say Danielle Harris is good in this movie,
Yeah.
acting. She's really good.
Yeah, she definitely gave the role her all despite not having her voice for
This is one of those movies where I'm like, it's bad, it has flaws, but you can still watch it. It's
yeah.
still okay to watch. You're definitely gonna heavily criticize this movie.
Yeah.
This to me falls in D tier.
Yep. Yep, solid D.
All right. So moving on, we are hopping into Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Now, there are two versions of this. We have the producer's cut, and we also have the theatrical release of it. The producer's cut goes more in detail about the whole the whole cult stuff and the curse of Thorn, which I do like. I'm like, we actually have some explanation here. Um, this movie to me, it's a step above um the Revenge of Michael Myers.
I agree.
It answers some questions, but man, this is the plot where now Michael is going after the Strode family, Laurie's uncle, and his wife, daughter, and grandson, so he can kill his last surviving relatives. Well, once again, Dr. Loomis is after him again.
Oh,
This
Loomis.
is the and this movie reveals the source of Michael's immortality.
Yeah, this one's it's not as bad for me as as uh as 5 or not.
Mhm.
Yeah, Revenge of Michael Myers, yeah. It I don't know. I haven't watched this one enough times to give it a solid review.
Mhm.
The mask in this one's
I think it's okay.
it's okay. Um, it's hard for me to put a good rating on this one.
So here's where I'll talk about this one a little bit more too. This one takes, I guess you could say, it takes a different route. It trades everything the originals movies were, where you have just simple, evil, brutal effectiveness of that is Michael, into this whole convoluted myth. Well, not mythology, but more like this convoluted witchcraft curse mysticism or so that it's superiorly confusing.
Yeah. This is definitely one of the more confusing movies for me.
It's it's a very bland movie, but it's watchable.
It is. It's definitely not one that I will actively turn off. I would probably put it on if I was looking for something to watch, you know.
Yeah. And this is where I say the producer's cut, it goes more into detail about the whole mytho and everything of the Curse of Thorn stuff and explains why Michael is immortal, why he has this driven thing to kill his bloodline, all that stuff. Like I said, it answers a lot of questions that they were going with in 5 about like the who's the man in black, and then here's the man in black, here's the reveal, here's this, like there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of like not much origins, but just a lot of cult stuff that's
Yeah.
talked about in this movie. So if you like cult stuff, I think you'll enjoy the movie. Me, I feel like that's one aspect in a Halloween movie that I don't care for. I want to see Michael be a brutal, just chaotic slasher. I mean, he does kill people in this movie, but we don't need this whole oh, he's powered by the thorn rune and all that. Like, I don't care for that.
And it does kind of have some sentimental value because it's one of the last times we see Donald Pleasance as Loomis.
Yeah, this was his final role.
Um, and you get one of the first appearances of Paul Rudd.
Yes, very first
So,
appearance, Paul Rudd, a very
so
young Paul Rudd,
yeah, very young Paul Rudd. So it's got that going for it, at least. He's
babysitter
cool.
Paul Rudd.
Babysitter Paul Rudd.
It's watchable. It has flaws. I want to put this in C tier.
Yeah, I'd put it C. That sounds about right.
All right, we agree. Now we're on to Halloween H2O.
Ooh.
Man, dude, I like this movie a
Yeah,
lot.
this is a solid movie. This is a very solid movie.
So for this one, um, it's called Halloween H2O 20 years later. So I mean, obviously 20 years later after 1970 Halloween. So this is a retcon and a reboot all in one. It retcons all the Thorn trilogy stuff. And it picks right up, not after the first movie, but after the second movie, because Halloween H2O, Michael and Laurie are still brother and sister.
Yeah.
So you have this character of Laurie who has faked her own death in order to go into hiding from Michael. And she goes, I think she's a dean of like a boarding school in California.
She's the head honcho of this academy, this boarding school.
No, I was like, no, she's not the dean. What the heck is she? Like
Headmistress.
headmistress. Yes. Uh, it's one of the best of the many sequels.
Mhm.
In comparison with the original Halloween. Um, I love all the meta stuff that they included in this. I mean, this is 1998. You had, dude, Scream definitely influenced this movie with all the
Yeah.
meta stuff. I mean, I really enjoy it. Slasher films, they seem to be like this joke or whatever. But man, Jamie Lee Curtis, with her coming back, I think is what made this movie again.
And her story makes sense. Here, Michael has been trying to kill her.
Mhm.
So it makes sense for her to fake her own death and try to get as far away as possible and, just live out her life. I like that plot point. I think it makes a lot of sense.
This is where we also see Laurie Strode become an alcoholic
That is true.
to cope with her PTSD.
Also makes sense. It makes it this really her character feels real. They
Yeah.
they do a good job with Laurie in this one.
Plus, this goes back to the standard stalk and slash that Michael's known for.
Yeah. Really good performance. Oh, who was Myers in this one?
Ooh, another thing that I liked that they did too with this, they brought back Marion Chambers in the beginning of the part of the movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, let's go.
That was a good touch. That was a really good touch.
Only for her to die.
Yeah, well, it was always destined to be, wasn't it?
I mean, it was really good to see like a classic version of Michael. Like I said, not this whole thorn cursed Michael thing. We're going back to like this is Michael that we all know from the original movie, basically. Yeah. This is a classic version of Michael. Even though the mask that he wears in these movies, or this movie, the mask in this movie, excuse me, 4 of them.
Yeah.
Three practical and 1 CGI.
Ooh, that CGI mask is
Ooh, that's rough.
You can't really see it very well unless you
so
pause
quick.
It.
Yeah.
But if you get that right timing or look up pictures of this mask, that is bad. But
cheeks.
Very good movie. I like this a lot. It's a good reboot, good retcon.
Dude, I was gonna say, for me, this easily goes in A tier.
Yeah, I would put it right up there.
H2O, solid. All right, speaking of not solid.
Oh, I knew we were going to get to this portion of the video.
Halloween Resurrection, the one that I just don't like, man.
I don't like this movie at all. It just because you have the amazing ending of
H2O, right? Only for them to retcon that. And I'm just like, why? Why would they do that?
It's
not only that. Look, listen, hey. In order for me to explain the trash that this movie is, I'm gonna spoil Halloween H2O for those who haven't seen it, so I can talk about Resurrection.
Right ahead.
So, here's your warning. Now, excuse me. Halloween H2O, Laurie hits Michael with the car. They tumble down the hill, pins Michael against a tree, and he reaches out to her, and she's gonna touch his hand. And I feel like she wanted to grab his mask as well, but she refuses, takes that fireman's axe, and lobs Michael's head off with it, decapitates him. Only for Resurrection to reveal that was not Michael. It was a paramedic that he had killed. And, well, no, he didn't kill the paramedic, but he had sewn, or no, what was it? He cut the guy's tongue out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had cut the guy's tongue out, crushed his larynx or something like that, so the guy couldn't even talk, and dressed him up in his mask and in his jumpsuit, and then Michael dresses up as the paramedic and leaves. So Laurie actually kills the paramedic in H2O. That's where they retconned it. So now Resurrection starts. Laurie's in a psychiatric hospital. Michael finds her. All this takes place in 20 minutes. They have this rooftop fight, and during the whole struggle of the rooftop fight, they go over the side of the building, and then the whole momentum swing, Michael stabs Lori and kills her. And Jamie Lee falls falls into the trees and is never seen again. I feel like that was a really shitty way to kill Lori off. I feel like Jamie Lee Curtis deserved better. For that part of that movie, I was like, man, if this is the way this movie's going, I'm going to fucking hate it. And then they take it a step lower, and now Michael's continuing this murderous rampage in Haddonfield when the Myers house is used for a live internet horror show. What?
It's such a spit in the face to the Laurie character, and just it's so bad. It's so cheap.
It is an unnecessary sequel to H2O. They should have left H2O the way it was.
Yeah.
Fuck Resurrection.
Yeah. Could not agree more.
I feel like Dimension wrote this script about a live internet horror show because this is like 2002. So you had like these live internet shit like Big Brother and all that was like really trendy. And they're like, yeah, let's make a movie like that, but make it a horror movie. And then they're thinking, well, how can we make it scary? And we're like, oh shit, we got the rights to Halloween. Let's fucking throw Michael Myers in that bitch and have the house setting be the fucking Myers house. Okay. Also, let's have Busta Rhymes come in and he just does some kung fu. You know who likes this movie? Phoenix. I think he likes it just to mess with me. Because he knows I hate it.
Yeah, this movie is bottom of the barrel. I've seen it just to say that I have seen it, and I will never willingly watch this movie again.
I would also like to read a bit. This is from John Carpenter himself.
Oh boy.
John Carpenter revealed that when he had seen Halloween Resurrection, he said, I watched that one in the house with all the cameras. Oh my God. Oh Lord God. And then the guy gives a speech at the end about violence. What the hell? Oh my Lord, I couldn't believe. The movie's so bad, John Carpenter fucking hated it. I'm with you, John. F tier.
Yep. That's an easy F.
Fuck Resurrection. Now I'm going to have to scroll this down just a bit so we can see the other movies up here. Okay. Now we're on to a whole new, I guess you could say, can of worms.
Oh, man.
Now we're on to Rob Zombie's Halloween. Now, Rob Zombie's Halloween, when he decided he wanted to do this, the first one, this is kind of like a reimagining of the original, but with more backstory. Because there's a lot of telling about Michael Myers' childhood upbringing in this.
Yeah,
it's one of those things I can appreciate it, but I also don't care for it.
I will say this. I don't hate this movie.
I don't either.
I don't like this movie. There are some things I do really like. I thought
it's very violent.
It's very violent. I thought Malcolm McDowell as Loomis was a really good casting choice.
I thought it was good. Yeah, he did good. He did a solid job.
I don't understand because Rob Zombie likes to put symbolism in his movies a lot of times. It felt like he was trying to put too much of that in there.
Mm-hmm.
It had some good moments. I thought Tyler Mane as Myers. I mean, he's
holy shit.
He looks scary and like Myers looks terrifying.
He is a brick shit house.
He is, and like I said, I don't hate this movie. I don't like the first part of this movie where it tells a lot of backstory.
That's the stuff I don't care for. And not only that, we're under the impression, let's go back to the first movie. Michael was born evil, okay? We're under that impression. This movie molds him into evil, like with his
Yeah,
whole dysfunctional family and all the bullying and all this other shit. Like, I don't care for that.
no. And the dialogue at the breakfast table between
Oh,
Michael's
it's so
dad,
white trash.
it's so typical Rob Zombie
It's sleazy, trashy.
trash. And you just
Not trashy in a bad way, just like that grindhouse like white trailer trash vibe to it.
yeah, that's what he's going for. That's what he does.
No, that's his
And
right. That's Rob Zombie's like
his forte.
his calling card. Yeah.
And it just I didn't like that. It didn't feel necessary. It just made me feel gross and not in a good way. It just I didn't like that part at all.
I absolutely love the casting of this movie though.
The casting is really good.
I do love the casting. I feel like Rob is bringing in these ideas that don't work for me,
Yeah.
and he's also in the same time not bringing new ideas. And that's where I'm going, like, you're bringing this in, but it doesn't work for me. Why don't you do this one? That's what I'm saying. He's bringing in ideas that don't work for me.
Yeah. I think if
Um,
you skip the first, what is it? The first like 30 minutes of this movie,
30, 45 minutes.
somewhere in there, it gets pretty good. Like,
Yes.
I say pretty good. It gets very watchable for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, that's about where I am with the Rob Zombie
Like
Halloween. It's
Malcolm McDowell as Loomis is good, but he's the more compassionate. He's not as intense as
yeah,
Loomis, in my opinion.
yeah,
Um, Also going back to that as well. Um, I don't like the fact either that like Rob, I feel like when he made this, the whole what's the word? The young version of Michael, all the bullshit he was going through, it made us want to feel somewhat sympathetic for him as a kid.
yeah.
I,
He
I
tried to humanize the character a lot,
yeah, I didn't care for that.
and it's a little weird because I'm like, okay, we're watching. We know what type of movie this is by this point. You know, people have seen all these slasher movies. We know about slashers, and he's trying to make us sympathetic for the main killer in a slasher movie, and that just doesn't work for me.
You know what? I give Rob Zombie a lot of credit for not copying Carpenter and making this movie his own.
Yeah, gotta
I
give him
give him a
props
lot
for
of credit
trying.
for that. Yeah, credit for trying. Um, this to me is okay, but it has its flaws.
Yeah,
It's still an enjoyable watch. I put this in C tier.
yeah, it's solid,
I
solid
and
C.
I and I know a lot of people who absolutely love this movie. You got people that would want to put this in fuck A or B.
Yeah,
But I feel like this is somewhat in the middle for me. I put this in a C.
yeah, I'm I'm pretty on par with that as well.
All right. So now we're on to Rob Zombie's other Halloween movie, Halloween 2, which came out in
Mm.
2009. Man, dude. So this story follows Laurie after she deals with the aftermath of the previous film. Uh, you have Loomis, who's trying to make profit off the events with the new book. And now Michael is trying to reunite with his sister. This this movie to me is very confusing.
It is because, you know, Loomis, as we know him, was always about he was so much about stopping Michael that he went insane. And
Mhm.
now you have Rob Zombie saying, "Okay, we're taking this character and we're going to turn him into somebody who's trying to make money off of a book deal," which just felt wrong to me and it felt weird. And the whole white horse stuff,
Yeah, his Deborah, his mom.
it I don't know, I don't know what's happening here half the time.
No, and I don't like the fact that Michael looks like a hobo.
Yeah, and the mask where he's, the exposed face and really humanizing him here. It just
Mhm.
it's ambitious and he's trying some stuff, but it feels like he's just taking a whole bunch of ideas and throwing them at a wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah. Now, if you want to watch the movie, if you want to watch something very gory, very violent, this is one of those movies.
Yeah, it's
But man, I need some plot, and this plot doesn't do it for me.
yeah,
I'm actually gonna be really quick on this. This is a D tier.
yeah,
It's not the worst, but I don't like it.
yeah,
I would definitely watch this over Resurrection,
yeah, yeah,
and I would rather watch Halloween 5 over Halloween 2.
yeah,
Because at least I'm getting some type of. I get what they're going at with Halloween 5, but I get where they're going at with it, but I don't like it. Halloween 2, it's like, I don't know where they're going with this, and I don't like it.
yeah. I don't know. Mom, pick me up. I'm scared.
Now we're into the Blumhouse trilogy, is what they like to call. And we are looking at now Halloween 2018. I think John Carpenter was like, all right, I've had enough. I want Laurie back. I want Jamie Lee Curtis back as Laurie. So they got David Gordon Green, who co-wrote it with Jeff Bradley, Danny McBride. You also have James Jude Courtney, who is fantastic as Michael
Ooh, he
Myers.
is good.
I mean, he's no Nick Castle, but
No.
man, James Jude Courtney, to me, he's the second best person to play Myers, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
So now, this movie, it's not it's a reboot and a retcon all over.
Yep. Giving it the H2O treatment.
Yeah, I'm actually going to pull this up so everyone can see the tier list up here.
Yeah.
So, Halloween 2018, this one takes place 40 years after the 1978 movie. And now it's retconned Halloween 2. So this is a direct sequel to the first movie, which means Laurie and Michael are not related. So it's following this 40 years after she survived his killing spree. Dude, really, really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, this is up in near the top for me because it's a breath of fresh air.
Oh, yes.
You get this classic Michael style. He's pretty brutal in this. He's not quite
Yeah, that's what I was
there
going to say.
yet.
That's what I was going to say. No, this is a very brutal Michael.
Yeah, I just mean not to the level that we'll talk about with the next movie.
And kills, right. But I mean, this sets the tone for what's to
Yeah.
come. And I like it. Like, this one gives me the same vibes as the first one.
Yep.
But it's very plot, very character driven. And not only that, this is a more violent take on it.
The gas station scene is one of my favorite scenes
Oh,
in this movie.
him dropping the teeth and shaking the door.
Oh my god,
And then he's smashing that dude's face in, dude.
it's so tense, and it's just, as I was watching it for the first time, I'm literally just on the edge of my seat, like gripping the sides of my chair. I'm like, this is getting real. And that's pretty early on in the movie.
What I like about this, it brings it back to the roots. It's a
Yep.
fan service to Halloween fans. Like, it's solid. Not only that, I appreciate this movie a fuck ton because it was filmed nearby where I live.
Yeah.
Same area, basically. So I love that it's got that going for it. I appreciate that a lot too. There's not only that, when you're retconning this, there is no Thorn trilogy stuff involved. So like, Michael is not. He's not this immortal. He's an actual human being in this movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's
Yep.
not immortal. He's not cursed by Thorn. There's none of that shit. Like I said, it's retcon.
Yeah, he's just a brutal killing machine of his own volition.
Mm-hmm. Dude, and not only that, everything just clicks, man. Like,
It
with the storytelling, it just
yeah,
makes sense.
it has a good flow. It has, fairly good dialogue. The only real
It's not slow paced at all.
no, no.
It's like, I want to say this movie's almost 2 hours long.
Yeah, around 106 minutes.
Okay, so it's like an hour 45, but man, it feels like you watch it and like an hour 15 goes by and you're like, man, that was cool. Like, it gets you in.
It does. The only real small gripe I have about this is Dr. Sartain.
See that, like, him putting the mask on, I
Oh my
laugh.
god. That was funny. That was pretty funny.
When he pops up when he pops up and you can see him over the hood of the car.
Yeah.
I will say this: Halloween pays a very great homage to 1978's original,
Yep.
while still being a very bold, decisive movie in its own existence.
Yeah.
And I'm, like I said, this is, I might overact. I don't give a shit. This is quite possibly the scariest Michael Myers has ever been.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
And just for that, I'm putting this in S tier.
That is a rightful place for an amazing sequel.
I fucking love 2018. Now we're going to jump off a little bit on the other end, and we're going to talk about
Ooh.
Halloween Kills.
Yeah, we are.
Now, this one I feel like Halloween Kills in recent Halloween movies. This is the probably the most mixed reviewed Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got its good points for me, and it's got its bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to love this movie.
You know what? I feel like this is one of those movies where the more you watch it, the more it's going to grow on you. And
Yeah.
I feel like in the years to come, it's going to envelop into this whole cult classic.
I can definitely see that.
This
I
one,
like. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
this one, when I first watched it, I was like, okay, the whole mob, evil dies tonight shit. It got old really quick. I fucking hated it. This version of Michael is a holy shit. He takes all the kills that he did in the 2018 one was cranked up a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to call the movie Kills, I want to see some good kills.
Yeah, and no, there are some kills in this movie.
It's gruesome, it's brutal, and that's how Michael should be. But just the whole juggling of this whole social commentary and the whole the chaos in town with the whole riot stuff, like, or not riot, but like what the mob, the angry mob.
Yeah. And there's the scene in the hospital where the mob starts going on to this random
Mhm.
old dude in the hospital, and they're like, "That's him. We need to get him." And I'm like, "Okay,
That dude looks like Michael. He's short and fat. Oh, the
obviously this is
umbrella
not
man.
Michael." Yeah, the umbrella. Like, obviously this guy isn't Michael. He's this short little hobbit looking guy that's old and decrepit. Like, he's not doing anything.
Nero's penguin.
Yeah,
Or not,
yeah.
Vito's
It's
penguin, my bad.
it's Danny DeVito as an elderly penguin, basically. I don't know. It's just that that wasn't
you,
great.
you know what? To me, this movie feels Like you still have a lot of horror elements. You have a lot of the slasher trope stuff and all that. And Michael's very gruesome. He's very brutal. But man, like I said, this is also one of those movies where it's very plot driven and character development to the point where it almost feels a little bit of a drama.
Yeah, yeah, I can agree with
And I
that.
and I know a lot of people hated the fact that Lori was in the hospital for a majority of the movie. I'm like, she just got attacked by Michael in the first movie. Give it up.
Yeah,
You really want she needs to recover. And I also appreciate that this movie does play a lot of homage to past Halloween movies, like the whole hospital setting, for Halloween 2, the angry mob, Halloween 4. If you go back and watch the movie, there's a Big John and Little John
yeah,
who live in the Myers house. If you look at it on their Halloween porch, there's a decoration. Um, One of the props in that Halloween decoration was a pitchfork. That pays homage to Halloween 5 because Michael killed those two kids in the barn with the pitchfork.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of those little hidden Easter eggs that pay homage to it, which I appreciate.
And
It-
and there's the Silver Shamrock masks.
yeah, yeah, those two. The kids wearing the silver shamrock mask. And I also like that they brought back gosh, what's her name from the first movie? Um Damn.
Lindsay Wallace.
Yes, I did like that they brought her back too. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of good fan service in this one with those small details here and there.
Yes,
Um,
100%.
yeah,
To me, this is a movie I think it's okay, but it has its flaws.
yeah.
Um, I still enjoy it.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable watch for sure. Very fast paced watch.
I'm gonna put this in C tier.
That is a solid place for that.
If there was a few things that it didn't have going for it, I would easily put it in B. But for what it is, I have to put it in C.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have the final in the Blumhouse trilogy
Oh,
with Halloween Ends, another movie that is so mixed, man.
I mm, we I I don't know if me and you, because we've talked about this some between us. I don't know if we have the same views on this movie or not quite.
I feel like we do.
I I want to hate this movie, but I don't. I definitely don't hate this movie.
I mean, I don't hate this movie. There are some things about it I like, and there's a lot of things about it I do not like.
The the story with Corey feels very out of place for me.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up. And after watching, because I watched it twice since it's come out, I saw it in theaters, and then we had the movie night on this in my Discord, and
Yeah,
we watched it on there.
that's right.
I Dude, I fucking loved and that cold open where Corey's babysitting the kid.
Yeah.
Holy shit, what the fuck? Like I wasn't expecting that.
That was a good start.
It was a good start. It got me like, oh shit, what's gonna happen next kind of thing. Then that the fucking title, like the title sequence with all the names. I'm like, yo, it's Season of the Witch Find. Holy
Yeah,
shit, that's cool as shit.
that's good.
I think I was the only person in the theater who caught that.
Probably so.
And the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, why would they put this Season of the Witch um like Easter egg in there? And it had me thinking, are they trying to like incorporate some theme elements of Season of the Witch of like this whole these masks are cursed? Because you think about it, when Corey has that connection with Michael, like he looks in his eyes and he puts the mask on, he's like, I'm Michael Myers and all that.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's like it pays some homage to Season of the Witch, but it still feels out of place.
Yeah. I wish in my mind, I really wish they would have went down that route a little more so than the way that they did. Um, because I don't know, Corey's a complicated character for me because, the town is villainizing him for what happened, and obviously, it
Right.
was a freak accident. He is
Yeah.
not at fault in that.
Well,
But
I
they're
get
treating him like he's evil, and they're like, "Oh, he's
right.
he's evil," but he's not.
That's what I was saying. This whole movie, you have you have the character of Michael, who the whole town hates,
Yeah,
and they blame Lori for that, which I feel like was a really shitty thing to blame her for. She has no control over that.
yeah, I agree.
And then you also have the whole thing that happened with Corey at the beginning when he was babysitting that night. And then now he feels like he's the outcast of the town. And I feel like that's where he has that connection with Michael, where he's like, the town both hates us. You're not only that, why the fuck is Michael living in a damn sewer?
Yeah, he's a Ninja Turtle now.
He's this old decrepit man living in the sewer. And do you remember we had this talk when I said I was like, man, Michael's just like so unstoppable and kills. And I said, and I had
Yeah.
this thing where I was like, I think the more he kills, the stronger he gets. That was my theory.
Yeah,
And then now, not only that, yeah, we forgot to mention, Halloween Ends takes place 4 years after Kills.
yeah, very pretty
So
far
Mike,
distanced.
so Michael has been rotting away as a weak ass bitch in the sewer because he hasn't killed in 4 years. And then
Yeah,
like Corey brought that guy. He's like, show me how to do it. Show me how to do it. Like Corey wants to be the next Michael Myers. Like it's such like I get where it's going. I don't understand why it's in the film.
yeah, because I feel like it would have made more sense had in the beginning Corey actually been at fault for that death.
To me, this movie, it's not scary.
No,
It
no,
has some tense moments, but
I
it's not scary at all.
I will say the scene in the salvage yard is good. That's probably
Yes.
my favorite scene in the movie.
Are you talking about the one with Corey in the salvage yard?
Yeah, Corey in the
Oh,
salvage yard,
yeah, it
really
was
good
pretty good.
kill.
But man, too bad it wasn't Michael.
Yeah,
That's another thing I don't like about this movie. Not enough Michael, my boy.
yeah, you got the people that dislike Season of the Witch because there's no Michael. This really doesn't have a whole lot of Michael in it either.
Yeah, he's in the movie. But here's the thing. I don't get the whole Corey Michael thing connection. Like, why would
Nope.
they incorporate that? I don't get why they did that.
It's a weird subplot that turns into the main story, and it feels very everything feels out of place in this movie. I
It
realize
does.
it's 4 years later, but you kind of leave us with kills, and
If I wanted to do this movie, if I was going to film it, if I was David Gordon Green, I could write and direct it. You have 2018, solid. Leave it the way it is.
yeah,
Then do Kills, but change the title because it wouldn't make sense. Leave Halloween Ends with the title. Maybe call Halloween Returns. I don't fucking know.
yeah, some
But have it where okay, she burnt the house down with Michael in it, but nobody knows where he's at. But then Michael sporadically pops up, let's say a year later or 2 years later. Doesn't have to be 4, it could be like 2 years later. And he goes back on his killing spree. And then now all of Haddonfield's on like lockdown. And that kind of pays a little homage to part 4. Because remember, they shut the town down and all that stuff. And they're like,
yeah,
nobody come out, nobody come out. So you pay a little homage to 4 there. Then you have you have no angry mob. Get that out of there. But you can have um something where like you get these stupid characters that want to go out and go get Michael, and then like he outsmarts them and he kills them and he gets stronger, and then it's like, oh my god, Haddonfield is literally feeding Michael's like his strengths and all this stuff. And then you could do one where it's like, okay, the end of Kills, spoiler, he kills Laurie's daughter, Karen,
Mm.
at the end. But have that ending. And now Michael has killed one of Laurie's, bloodline, and now he's like really super strong or something like that. Now he feels like he's more connected to Laurie. He feels like stronger or some shit. I don't know. You don't have to get into this whole mythos stuff. Now you go into Halloween Ends, and then now make this a direct sequel again, from that movie. Because, like, all right, like I said, Halloween 2018, and then Kills picks up the same night after it, right? But like I said, if you were to jump forward a little bit later into that movie, like have Kills start off right after the first movie, and then in the middle of the movie have it take place like another time later.
Yeah.
So that way the third movie can pick up the same night as the second act of the whole movie. You follow?
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then now you have Halloween Ends. You're like, okay, this is like now where we learned our mistakes from last year. Now, fuck a curfew. We're all gonna gang up on Michael. Now we have this angry mob, but know this evil dies tonight chant shit. And you can have it where, mob justice, but still give the satisfaction where there's that one last fight where, like, the mob beats the shit out of Michael and he kills some of them, and now he's hiding again, and now Laurie has to fight him, and then you get the final act with Laurie versus Michael. And then do it how it did in Ends. I do like that in Ends. I like the final fight between Laurie and Michael in the kitchen.
It's solid. It's a tad bit anticlimactic for me, but
it is. But also you don't want it to go on for too long.
Right.
I feel like you wanted to see Michael get some shots in.
Yeah. He was taken down in a good the way it went, I thought was solid.
And I feel like the way Ends ended, I do like the ending. It is closure for Laurie. It's what she deserves.
Especially after the hell she was put through in Resurrection.
So now, where do we rank Ends at?
I don't think it's definitely not F tier.
It's not an F. I don't feel like this is a D either. I still feel like this is it's okay. It's watchable. It has some flaws, a lot of flaws. I feel like this is a C tier, dude.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm thinking.
But this is a very low C.
That's what I was about to say. I'd rather watch the other movies in C tier before I watch this one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's on the same par as the other ones for me.
Like, so looking at our movies in C tier, if there was a list of these I would want to watch, I would rather watch Halloween Kills, then Halloween, Rob Zombies, then Ends, and then Curse.
Yeah, I'd put that there.
All right. So that is our final ranking of these movies. Well, Felix, I feel like this went on for a long time. We had a lot to cover, but
longer one.
I enjoyed it.
Same.
All right. I appreciate y'all. If y'all made it this far into the video, holy shit, you guys are legends. But for myself and for Felix, I'll put his Twitch channel in the description. If y'all want to go check him out on Twitch. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.